Brian Paris, and I have an important.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Listen, y'all know yesterday I was in Wilmington Hospital and my lymph nodes are looking a lot better. They're still swollen, but not as much. To God be the glory. Yes, it was an indication that I had contracted COVID-19, but I'll get into that later. Right now, I need to give you my testimony through song. This was another song dedicated by my sister, Ruby Hall Wells, when I was in early recovery. Lord, can you reach my friend? I'll come back at 6:45. Take us all out. I got my teeth in and everything, but listen to the song, okay? Can you help my friend? Can you reach my friend? Oh, wait a minute. Come on now. I got a call from an old friend. We laughed about how we had changed, but I could tell things weren't going as well as he claimed. He tried to hide his feelings, but they only gave him away. The longer I listened, the more I kept wishing that I knew the right words to say. Can you reach my friend? Bring his searching to an end. Lord, I know you love him. Help him understand. Can you reach my friend? You're the only one who can. Help him give his heart to you. We talked for more than an hour. I smiled when he mentioned your name. I said that I knew you. I told him the difference you made. But he never thought he would need you. But maybe he's changing his mind. As we said goodbye, Lord, he told me that I had found something that he'd like to find. Can you reach my friend? You're the only one who can. Lord, I know you love him. Help him understand. Can you reach my friend? You're the only one who can. Help him give his heart to. Maybe he's ready tonight. Lord, he said that he might need to call you. Yes, my Lord, I want to know. Lord, I know that you love him, so help him understand. Can you reach my friend? Bring his searching to an end. Can you reach my friend? Bring his searching to an end. That was my sister's Ruby Hall song to me. She was asking God to reach her sister. Yes, and she got her sister back. Ruby Hall Wells, Thank you. You got your sister back. So I want to do the same thing for you. I want God to reach my friend. Yes, yes. He's the only one who can. So, good morning, good morning, good morning, great morning. Yes, I sit before you right now in my little makeshift studio. Yes, with COVID-19, believe it or not. And to God be the glory. To God be the glory. He woke me up this morning. He woke you up this morning. That's why it's a great day in spite of our present circumstances. Isn't that ironic that our topic is today? Accepting our present circumstances. See how God works? But see, today, this moment, this minute, this hour, this day is all we have. And we have to learn how to accept our present circumstances, but to learn what spiritual principles we can apply to any and all of them this day. So, welcome to January the 12th, Alcoholics Anonymous Daily Reflection Reading for today. You need to know I do not represent Alcoholics Anonymous. No, I do not. But I've been a proud, humble, and grateful member for 31 plus years. And if it's God's will, with his grace and his mercy, allows me to live to February the 23rd of 2022, we will be celebrating 32 years of recovery. Accepting all our circumstances and applying these spiritual principles to these earthly conditions. So listen, that's why I'm sitting before you today, because I have been one day at a time learning, embracing, internalizing, evaluating these spiritual principles so that I don't give anything or anybody that much power ever again to make me go back to drinking and put me underneath that parked car 31 plus years ago. Okay? So before we get into our discussion, let me give you an update. So now, yesterday I had to televise from Wilmington Hospital because I woke up with y'all saw the pictures, right? These two big golf ball size lymph nodes, right? And I don't know about you, but listen, anything I see wrong with me, I know in recovery, listen, get your behind to the hospital. So I took myself to the emergency, and they saw it, and they asked me all these series of questions. And check this out, y'all. I let them know the day before I had a CAT scan with dye because they found a large cyst on my kidney, but I ain't worried about it. Listen, God got it all in control, right? And so I'm thinking I may have had a reaction to that, but they said, no, that's not usual. I also let them know what medication I was taking. And the first medication I talked about was Lispronel, HCCC, Lispronel, whatever you call it, right? And the lady said, I said, no, I've been taking that for years. I never had a problem. So that's not it. And so while they were, having me wait in the, on a little gurney, I guess, the bed, okay? And so when the doctor came in, when the nurse came in, did my vital signs, all kind of stuff. And he looked at it and whatnot. And I got into a conversation with him. And I said, I want to get a COVID test. Well, are you having any symptoms? I said, no, I'm not sneezing. I'm not coughing. I'm not, no, I don't have any symptoms. I had a cough a couple of weeks ago, whatever, but nothing. But do you have any symptoms now? And I said, no. I said, but I want to get a COVID test just in case. So he said, okay, I'll ask the doctor. I said, fine. So another who I thought was the doctor come in, and she went through what she went through. I said, can I get a COVID test? And she said, oh, well, I'm not the doctor. I said, oh, I thought you was, no problem. And so again, she went through the questions and all that. And then the doctor finally came in, and he was doing his examination, and he was saying like lymph nodes are indication that an infection is about to enter your body, and this is the way you get notified. I was like, okay. And so we can't treat you because this is the only symptom that you have of a coming infection. So we can't give you any antibiotics or nothing because we don't know what we're treating. So I said, that's fine. I said, well, can I get a COVID test? He said, are you having any symptoms? I said, no. I said, but I just want to take one in the event, right? And so he said, normally, you don't have these kind of symptoms, with COVID-19. We talk about the normal symptoms, right? And so I left. Well, no, I didn't leave. So he told me that they should go down by themselves, and they are slowly going down, right? And then he said I can check out my test results on the portal, right? So all day long I'm checking and going back and forth, and I called the MRI where I got my CAT scan from and let them know and about my maybe reaction to the dye. I don't know. And so I finally was able to get my test back, and it said positive for COVID-19, in parentheses, abnormal, right? So, okay. The first thing I said, okay, I got COVID. I accepted it, right? And I said, okay, well, let me see. Let me backtrack. So this weekend, Saturday, I was around a bunch of kids and their parents, for the interviews for the drone. Sunday, I went to church. I've been going to my 12-step meeting, so I need to notify all of those individuals, right? And so I began to contact people through email, through phone, through text messages, right? And I called and the doctors to verify what they have found. And they said, obviously, your lymph nodes were an indication that something is going on or something is in your body, and it is COVID-19. So we don't know how this thing presents itself because all of it is individualized, right? And so I just want y'all to know that I did the next right thing. I did my contact tracing. I am being quarantined because I'm here by myself anyway. And I'm not going to go back out there until I get tested again. And so anything that has to be done, listen, God got it. And I got a phone and I got email, I got food, I got everything I need, but I got my God, so I am fine. So that's why I emphasize so much that even though in all those arenas I wore a mask, I social distance as best I could, right? I had the KN95 mask. We even offered it to the students and the parents on Saturday. Some took it and some didn't. They wanted to use their own mask. So I did everything that I was supposed to do. I must admit that even with the mask, I did hug a couple people, right? I'm just a hugger, right? And so my boss said to me, maybe you shouldn't be hugging nobody. But we were masked up. But again, I'm going to start doing the elbow bump again because guess what? Even though I've been vaccinated and got my booster, I yet contracted COVID-19, which is okay because the vaccine doesn't prevent us from getting COVID-19, but it decreases the symptoms and the severity of going to the hospital, things like that. So listen, I'm grateful. So you can see it's going down, and I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do. And that's why we need to get into our topic today. Daily Reflection AA reading for today, accepting our present circumstances. Isn't that appropriate for today? At least in my case, right? So let's go right to the reading because I done took up enough time adding my information. So here is the reading for today. Close your eyes and let's read it together, or let me read it to you and then open your eyes. We can read it together. All right. So it says, January the 12th, accepting our present circumstances. Our very first problem is to accept our present circumstances as they are, ourselves as we are, and the people about us as they are. This is to adopt a realistic humility without which no genuine advance can even begin. Again and again, we shall need to return to that unflattering point of departure. This is an exercise in acceptance that we can profitably practice every day of our lives, provided we strenuously avoid turning these realistic surveys of the facts of life into unrealistic alibis for apathy or defeatism. They can be the sure foundation upon which increased emotional health and therefore spiritual progress can be built. As Bill sees it, page 44. Okay, so you did you hear what it says? So listen, I'm not important. Let's put this back up. It says accepting our present circumstances. Huh? Yes. Let's go back to yesterday when I was in the hospital, right? That was my present situation. That was my present circumstance, that I woke up with lymph nodes like the size of golf balls, right? And I took myself to the hospital knowing that at 4:30, I usually do my meditation and listen to Tamika Strickland, my angel, right? And then at 6 o'clock, I normally tie into AJ Harding, right? And then at 6:45, I come on and I talk to you about the AA reflection reading for today, right? But that was not my present circumstance at that time, at that moment. I needed to get to the hospital to find out what these things were sticking out my neck. So as I accepted my present circumstances, right, I went with the flow. I did not, I was not anxious. I was not nervous. I wanted to know. I wanted to know what these things were sticking out my neck were, right? And so, in accepting my present situation, I was in the right place. I was seen by the right people, right? I was in the place to get the right answers to my questions. That's accepting our present circumstances, right? Okay, so lo and behold, as time went on, while I was on my way to the hospital, I did put on Prophetess Tamika Strickland morning wake up, right? And I began to hear what she was sharing, right? And so that helped me to listen to the word as I was going to get my present situation taken care of while I was present with her. And so coming out the car and going into the hospital and even into the room, I was still listening while I was waiting on the doctors. So I was able to include and accept my present situation at the hospital, but I also included my willingness to be present with Tamika Strickland, right? As she fed me the word, right? I accepted that present condition, that's present circumstances. And so I was at peace. I was at peace. I was getting my situation and my physical condition taken care of at the same time. I was getting my spirituality fed. Accepting our present circumstances, okay? And so as time went on, was I able to tap into AJ Harding? I don't remember, okay? I don't remember. I think I tried. I don't remember, okay? So, but I know that when the doctor came in, I said, sir, do you know how long I'll be here? Because I generally do a podcast on the AA forum. And he said, AA? I said, yeah, Alcoholics Anonymous. And I said, I got 31 plus years. And he said, that's great. I said, do you have anybody in your family with this disease of alcoholism? he hesitated. He said, my dad, he has 8 months, and this is the time he usually struggles, And so again, accepting my present condition, accepting the fact that God allowed me to touch another sick and suffering soul by even inquiring to that gentleman, and he shared about his father, and my prayers went out to him and his father, right? And so he said, no. Go to your podcast, we'll close the door and whatnot. Again, so you had not because you asked not. And so the fact that I didn't need to worry about, I got to get home, I need to cancel. No. Right where you are in the hospital room, on your little bed, right? I saw my dear friend Hope Winchester do it. I saw other people do it in the hot. Listen, wherever you are, share the word, share the good news, share that he is able, no matter where you are, because guess what? You take you with you, and guess what? He's always with you, particularly when you acknowledge that he's in there. And so I was able to do my podcast from the hospital. So accepting our present circumstances, okay? So that was a tangible experience that I can share with you now. And so let me go back to the reading to dissect this again. It says, accepting our present circumstances. Ask yourself, what are you presently dealing with right here, right now? What is your present circumstances? What are your present circumstances? Only you can answer that. And I shared yesterday, to thy own self be true. What are your present circumstances? Are you in a mindset of acceptance, rebellion, denial, excuses, justification? Where are you in your present circumstances? What mindset are you in right here, right now, this moment? Are you present with me right now so that you can get the answer to that question about that circumstance? Whatever it is, are you present? Can you accept that we are in front of each other right this second? This is our present circumstance right now. Yes. So that we can apply it to the other circumstances that are right next to us, behind us, in front of us, around us, in us, okay? Woo! These 12 spiritual programs are awesome, right? All right, so what is your present situation? What is your present circumstances? Now, with me, sometimes when I read things, sometimes it doesn't click. And so let's go to this first sentence from As Bill Sees It. He says, our very first problem is to accept our present circumstances as they are, ourselves as we are, and the people about us as they are. So I got mixed up. I got confused. I got when it says our very first problem. And I'm still marinating on it, right? Our very first problem is to accept our present circumstances as they are, ourselves as we are, and the people about us as they are. And so because that baffled me, and it still is baffling to me, I went to page 44, and I wanted to read more about that because I was getting confused. Our very first problem is to accept our present circumstances, okay? So when I went back to him, to page 44, I read the paragraph before and to the end. And so this is what it says. And as Bill sees it, it's another daily reflection reading. It's entitled Daily Acceptance. Now, this is the paragraph before this one. It says, Too much of my life has been spent in dwelling upon the faults of others. This is a most subtle and perverse form of self-satisfaction, which permits us to remain comfortably unaware of our own defects. Too often we are heard to say, if it weren't for him or her, how happy I would be. And then it goes on. Our very first problem is to accept our present circumstances as they are, ourselves as we are, and the people about us as they are. Now, we are really talking about the first step where we admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable. So I can relate this to the problem I had of drinking. I can relate it to the problem I had of not being able to stop drinking. I could relate it to the problem that my life was unmanageable, okay? Because in order for me to even think about help, I had to accept my present circumstances. And my present circumstances at the time was I was a prostitute, I was an alcoholic, I was a drug addict, I suffered from mental illness, I committed murder, I had an abortion as a prostitute, I was stealing, I was manipulating, I was scheming, I was hurting people, I was setting people up, I was doing all those things just to get one more drink, one more drug. Yes, I was out of my mind, driven by, unknowingly to me, the disease of alcoholism that says you are going to submit under the lash of alcoholism. Yes. So I needed to accept where my drinking had brought me to. I needed to accept where my attitudes, ideas, and behaviors about those so-called people here, there, by the grace of God, here I am. Right? So I needed to accept those conditions, because one of the reasons why I stayed out there so long was because I was trying to make excuses. I'm just going through a little something. I'll get it together. I'll be all right, refusing to see what was evident to everybody else. But I was in denial. I didn't want to believe that I did not have no control over this thing, right? So now I'm starting to get it, y'all. See what happens when you kind of process some things. So when I finally, all those times were preparing me for that one and only surrender on February the 22nd of 1990, right? In the streets of Philadelphia, 3:00 in the morning. Yes, I had to accept my present circumstances. I was underneath a parked car, Edwina. Myself, you were at your bottom. You couldn't go no further unless you were in the ground. And the fact that you had to accept people as they are. My stepson was trying to get me to come from underneath the car, the cops and everything, right? Even though my family, my children, everybody was trying to help me, I still had to accept our present circumstances as they are, ourselves as we were, and the people about us as they are. So he goes on to say, this is to adopt a realistic humility without which no genuine advance can even begin. Did you hear that? The reason why we have to accept our present circumstances is to adopt a realistic humility without which no genuine advance can even begin. Did you hear that? As long as ego and pride was trying to do this and trying to do that, right? as long as I was trying to control this drinking, as long as I was trying to control these Johns, and I was trying to control this and control that, I was out of control. And through that, I experienced a whole lot of humiliation. I mean, a whole lot. If you ever get to come to one of my seminars or workshops and hear my story that I told myself and I heard myself tell myself the truth. So I've experienced some humiliating experiences. Yes. And so I needed to accept my condition as it was. I needed to accept myself as I was. And I needed to accept those about me as they were. Right? But it says here, in order for me to advance, in order for me to get past this, in order for me to be delivered from this, I had to adopt a realistic humility. I had to adopt realistic humility. Through that, humiliation brought about humility. Right? And so through that humility, I did gain some genuine acceptance to my condition. Yes, I did. Okay? And so it goes on to say, again and again, we shall need to return to that unflattering point of departure. That's why, people say once delivered, you okay and all that. Listen, it says again and again and again and again. We must not, right? It says we shall need to return to that unflattering point of departure. That point of underneath that parked car, how humiliating it was, right? But once I go back and keeping it green and remember that, I gained some humility again and said, Lord, continue to help me. So I returned back to where he delivered me from, just to remember how far I have come, right? And so there are times when we go back to reflect. We go back as a reference point. We go back to remember, not to stay. So time and time again, situations, circumstances are going to present themselves as it did on February the 22nd. And the same thing I did then, I can do today, like I did yesterday at that hospital, all right? I ain't got but a few more minutes. Let's see. Then it says here, okay? All right, wait. All right, come on. Then it says, come on, y'all. Come on. All right. Then it says here, oh my goodness, what am I doing? You know what? I'm going to I'm going to find out what's going on here. The devil is a liar. And so that's not what I want. So I'm going to go. That's not what I want either. All right. Listen, I got patience today. Let me get back to where I wanted to go. So you see what happens? When I accept my present circumstances, I went to the wrong page. I was trying to get to this page, but I didn't panic. Right? So let's continue. It says the fact that again and again we shall need to return, right, to that unflattering point of departure. This is an exercise and acceptance that we can profitably practice every day of our lives. Did you hear that? This is an exercise in acceptance. When you are going through something during the day, when you are confronted with something, right? And a lot of times you be like, but in recovery, we've learned to apply the serenity prayer in situations that we are uncomfortable with, situations that can trigger us, situations that are causing us to make a decision, situations that are prompting us to drink again. We use that serenity prayer, and it says, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, go to the hospital, and the wisdom to know the difference. So it's an exercise that we can practice all day long, every day for the rest of our life. Could you imagine the peace that you will experience? Okay. All right. Come on. I got to get going again. All right. All right. It says, provided we strenuously avoid turning these realistic surveys of the facts of life into unrealistic alibis for apathy or defeatism, they can be the sure foundation upon which increased emotional health and therefore spiritual progress can be built. Could you imagine me trying to convince myself that I can drink again? Unrealistic. Can you imagine me going out and prostituting again, thinking God won't come on time and God won't provide? Unrealistic. Do you think that me conniving, scheming, and all of those kind of stuff, right, to get just one more or to get my way, unrealistic. But I'm aware of what I'm doing. I acknowledge what I'm doing to their own self be true. And here comes the question. And what, so what, now what? What are you going to do about it? And what's the next right thing to do? And how about this? What's the next spiritual right thing to do? So that's why accepting our present circumstances, I'm better today than yesterday, right? I'm still available for God to use me in any way, shape, form, or fashion. And like Hella Baylor said, dedicated to me by my sister, can you reach out to my friend? I'm reaching out to you. Please wear your mask. Be mindful of who you are around. Social distance. Get vaccinated. Get your boosters. I had all that and I yet contacted COVID-19, but I am not in the hospital. I don't have those severe symptoms. And guess what? I accept my present circumstances. And when I do that, I apply the spiritual principles in order to accept my present circumstances. And when you talk about peace beyond our understanding, joy beyond our grasp, happiness, yes, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. You needed to add to people? Say this one. God, grant me the serenity to accept the people I cannot change, courage to change the person that I can, and the wisdom to know that person is me. Enjoy your day. Be safe, be safe, be safe. With spiritual principles, we can accept all and any of our present circumstances. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord.